I'm a former Disneyland cast member. I was Alice in Wonderland. Ask me anything. I worked there for 3 years. Also did Wendy from Peter Pan. No, there are no underground tunnels. What is the strictest, most ridiculous rule that Disney has for its cast members? I'm under the impression that there are quite a few, so please correct me if that is not the case. The worst is clocking in. You are not allowed to clock in early, which I understand, so you have to stand by the clock and wait till it's time to clock in. But if you are even 1 minute late, you incur points against you that can be used to fire you. They may have upped it to a 3-minute cushion, but sometimes I would get there 30 minutes early to have extra time to get makeup and wig on, and did forget to clock in on time since I was busy getting ready. So even if they knew I was there, I was still counted as late. That got a lot of people fired often. How many cast members were furries, and did anyone ever use their costume for yiffing? Lol, how funny that you should ask. I actually walked in on some nonsense in a break room once. So nasty, ha 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 ha. I don't know how many of them were into that though, probably a handful. Whoa whoa whoa, you can't just end this one after 6 sentences, this could get epic. Okay, Peter Pan, caption hook. That's all you are getting. Lol, I actually have a picture I took before I ran out screaming, all hail camera phones, but I won't be posting that. Do they have a guy or girl play Peter Pan at the parks? Guy, both were guys in this story, lol. Sounds like someone grew up after all. Is there a hierarchical structure to the cast members? Are people characters more important than animal characters? And do people characters look down on the animal actors? Actually there is. It's kind of a high school mentality. Face characters are at the top, the popular kids, then it's the regular costumed characters, then the hosts, and it goes downhill from there. Most of the face characters were too cool to sit with regular characters or people in other departments at lunch sometimes. And no matter where you went, on stage or off, people stared. I'm not sure I liked the way it worked though, really. It's weird having other cast members stare cause you are just an employee like they are. It was a pay issue as well. The face characters made $5+ plus an hour more than the fuzzes. Ever seen the Alice in Wonderland porno? Lol, no. Do not want. What did your significant other think of your role? Did you get any propositions while in character? The significant other I had at the time could have cared less. I think he came to see me once, and not by choice. I had at least 20 marriage proposals to which I would reply, but I'm only 12. And a simple thing people can do is not buy autographed books. Characters hate them. It's best to just be polite and take a quick photo or get a quick hug. Also be understanding when a character needs to leave. I knew a few girls who are so overheated when they got done with sets that they would literally take their heads off backstage and pass out. So guys would just walk up to you and say, "Will you marry me?" Yes. One even had a ring. Did you ever come into work hungover, still drunk? Any good stories about people who did? I actually auditioned hungover, lol. And yeah, there was this girl who did Daisy Duck. She was like 4 feet 10. She would show up to work every day dressed like a hooker at 6 AM and smelling like booze, but she was such a rare height that they let her get away with murder. If you do not mind me asking, how well does Disney pay? Not well enough for the amount of scars and permanent neck and back damage I received while there. Scars? From what? Did the management beat you if you got your lines wrong? No, I got 6 stitches from being stabbed with a pencil. Angry lady in wheelchair wants autograph, and I had to leave. Fun times. Damn. Did you tip her chair over for that? I should have, haha. Well, to say there are no tunnels isn't true. There's a large underground complex in New Orleans Square, as well as a tunnel under the rivers of America. On top of that, there is a big utility tunnel that runs from the Autopia to the Matterhorn, with branches that lead to the back of Space Mountain. Former outdoor vending slave. Yeah, but people seem to think there are tunnels under the whole park. There's somewhat of a basement tunnel under costuming too, down by security. But there are not tunnels that run under the whole park. Florida does have a nice complex tunnel system for employees though. I would not want that here since earthquakes. Did you ever see any celebrities? Tons of them. I'd have to sit here all day to name them all. I'd have to say my favorite though was Travis Barker and Shanna. Their children are awesome and I have lots of photos with Shanna's daughter. I seemed to run into them every time they visited. More. Okay fine. No need to yell. I will say that Denise Richards is the bitchiest person I've ever met in my life, and she needs a reality check. And I love Johnny Depp and his children who speak French more than English. And I love Melissa Joan Hart and her adorable son. In fact, her whole family is nice. Her sister said she wanted to be Alice. What was it like wearing the whole getup in the summer heat? Horrible. It's about 3 layers of clothing plus stage makeup that you had to keep reapplying as it melted off your face in the sun. Usually in the summer my number one goal was to find a shady place to let the people attack. Getting mobbed in the sun sucked. What were some of your scripted lines you had to deliver in different situations? Did you always have to use an English accent? There were no real scripted lines. It was 99% improv. And yes, I always had to speak with an English accent. I think I was pretty good too because I had an English family tell me they thought I would be an American girl. Ha ha ha. Guess I fooled them. Ever get vomited on? No, but I did get peed on once. How strict were the rules exactly? Were you allowed to talk about your job to friends, family? I have heard that you have to keep pretty silent about it. In the beginning pretty strict. Don't tell anyone, etc. But as time went by I kept seeing more and more tag photos on FB. I don't know what happened to the rules, but it looks like they got tossed out the window. I liked it better when there was more mystery and magic to it. Why did you leave, and what are you doing now? I left because I was fired. Not because I did anything bad, mind you, but because Disney is an ass kissing contest and I'm no ass kisser. It's okay, I've moved on to bigger things. Like the Disney Channel. Ha 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 ha. Do you actually work for Disney Channel? I have been on Disney Channel TV shows as well as on Cartoon Network. You said a lot of cast members got married. Any funny pairings? Like Mickey married to one of the 7 dwarfs, Prince Charming married to Tigger, etc. I know of a mini Pluto marriage lol. But I'd have to say the best pairing of all time while I was there was the 2 Aladdins. What's the funniest story you have? What's the most difficult thing you had to do there? How tall do you have to be for the certain character positions? Okay, funniest story to me is the Mad Hatter and I were talking to a boy who was about 5 years old. I usually got down to eye level if the kid is awesome enough, and this one was. We all had this great fun convo, and as we were about to leave the Mad Hatter tells the boy high five and puts his hand out. Only then did we realize the boy had no arms. Ha 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 ha. Okay, yes, I know it sounds horrible, but it was the most hilarious FML moment ever. The most difficult thing was dealing with management. They are retarded. And height ranges are anywhere between 4 feet 10 for the smaller characters, Donald, Mickey, Minnie, to 6 feet 5 for the larger ones, Beast, Goofy, Captain Hook. Alice's are usually between 4 feet 11 and 5 feet 3. What's the most obnoxious guest you ever dealt with? How about the worst thing you ever saw/heard about someone getting fired for? The most obnoxious guest was Hat Lady. She carried a bag of knitted hats and chased Captain Hook all day. She was the worst. And the best firing story ever is a story of a guy named Nader. I can use the name cause there is no way in hell they will ever hire him again. He was Tigger all the way back by the poo ride. He decided that it was his last day. He decided this. So he bounced all the way through the park, past other Tigger in town square, and out the front gate. Then he decided duck it. He was already that far, so he hopped over into Disney's California Adventure Park, hopped all over that park and straight into a show that was going on. By this point management was freaking out, because what could they do? You can't take down Tigger in front of hundreds of kids. You just can't. So they waited while he performed in a show he was not really involved in and finally got him backstage. Lol, honestly I think he deserved a Medal of Honor, not a firing, but hey, long live Nader. Do the young kids really believe you are the character? Any good cute kid stories? Yes, lots of children really believe it, and that's what made it special. The best cute kid story is a Make-A-Wish girl I met. She was 6 years old and almost blind from her condition, but she could see if you were close enough. I spent hours with her on 3 different days that she was there. The last day the mother was sobbing and telling me how I was her daughter's angel and how they were so happy she got to see me before she lost all sight. She asked if Alice could join them at the character dinner. In wonderful Disney fashion my manager said no, Alice could not extend her hours into character dining. So I said duck it, got out of costume, went and bought her an Alice doll, and went to the dinner as myself to give her the doll. I figured she was almost blind and would have no clue I was Alice without all the blue. I approached the mother at dinner, who instantly started bawling and hugging me. I gave the little girl the Alice doll and told her I was Alice's friend. I gave the mother my contact info and kept in touch with the family. The little girl passed away shortly after, but the mother sent me a beautiful photo of her daughter and I walking down a path holding hands. She also sent me a silver angel that hangs on my wall. I was told they buried her with the Alice doll. I cry thinking about it, but I'm glad I have those memories. There are so many more amazing stories, but that is my favorite. Figured I could show this, since my face is not in it. It stays on my fridge. Edit. Here's another one. It's a beautiful thought, but one that makes me cry if I think about it too much. There are a few children I met over the years that have that effect. There was a boy too I met who was 7 and was autistic. So I just sat with him and sang him a song from Alice in Wonderland, since his mom told me it was his favorite movie and he watched it 20 times a day. Most autistic children latch onto a movie like that. Well, when I was done singing the song, he yelled Alice and hugged me. Then his mom started screaming and crying, and I had to ask her what was wrong. And it was at that point she had told me he had never said a word in his life and that was his first. I had to leave shortly after because of how powerful it was. I probably cried backstage for about 20 minutes. I've worked with autistic children in my past, and I just knew that one word meant so much to that mother, to hear her son's voice. Like I said, there are so many stories like this. It's one of the reasons I may go back. I know I changed some lives. My question is, what was the audition like? I've always wondered what kind of things they ask you to do and act out, and how many other people auditioned with you. The audition is a 2-day process that starts with about 1,000 people, and usually about 8 to 10 get hired. It starts with a basic look over 10 at a time in rows. You are either put on one side of the room or the other. If you are on the side with the fat girls, you know you are done. So like one side of the room is crying, and the other side is uncomfortable, but trying not to laugh. The uglies get sent out. Then it goes to dancing. They teach you a routine and you perform it 4 at a time twice in front of the managers. Then after everyone is done they call numbers. Separate the room again. If you are on the side with the good dancers, it's the same process as the first. The bad get sent home. Then it's on to wigs. They try the wigs on you and you go back. If they like it on you they take pics. If they really like it, they ask you to put the full costume on then take pics. Then you are put in a room. Maybe 100 people are left at this point. You are called out one by one and either given a paper to come back the next day or you are told to go home. The next day involves about 20 people that come back. They test your dialect and improv skill, make you sing, dance again. Then it's the sit down interview where they pretty much tell you yes or no. When I was hired, 12 people made it out of 1,000. That's 12 face characters. I was the only Alice that made it that audition.